Of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN 9:06 a.m. Thursday morning. Been out for a few days. Appreciate our man Basil Chapman, Teddy Kegstad filling in for the 9 a.m. program. Quite a market we got going on this week. You look at the S&Ps. We'll pull it up. Talk about a week of action. We got an upper boundary line of about 44.20. That was last Thursday. We're talking about a level of about 43.70 on the lower boundary line. We were down there on Tuesday action, quite the acceleration. Yesterday you pull back. We're pushing the top end of that basically consolidation of this week. You get the S&Ps up about 9 points, 0.2% in the positive this morning. NASDAQ 100 continuing to trade higher. You take a look at the NASDAQ 100 on a daily basis. We are right near all-time highs. You're talking about 15,134, made about a week ago, just about almost 2 weeks ago now, I guess. We're trading at 15,099. Dow right near that level as well, 34,753. And you get the Russell up about 8 points. The Russell, as we've been saying, you could call it the laggard. Quite the consolidation you have going on in the Russell right now. You could say about 2,100 to the upper boundary just above 2,300. We're right in the middle of that range right now at 21.99. And talk about some volatility in the commodities. Crude pulling back. Now, we just got this pullback in crude, right? I mean, we had that pop. You made it down to a price level of 65.01 on July 20th. We were almost back at 75 within 2 weeks. We're pushing those same levels. Now, what's interesting here is you get down to this level. That area it popped from when you go back to July 20th on crude, also correlating to the areas that you had resistance in, going back to whether you were basing in May or that initial high back in March. So crude, maybe we'll see if we find a level, but we're coming into a critical area in crude. Maybe you could say maybe $1 under where we're at right now, or right where we're at right now in crude. Gold, as I mentioned in the update, some volatility yesterday in gold. Now you look at gold on a daily, you pull back to a 618, and that's the run starting in late March, all the way up to the highs of 1919, is that right? Yes, 1919, the high made on June 1st. We pull back to a 618. We've been chopping around in that gold contract, but man, talk about volatility on the notes and the bonds and the gold market yesterday. Gold was up to 1835 as you had yields falling, and then yields, of course, the 10-year pulls back. Yields rebound to about 1.2%. Gold pulls back, rebounds as well. We're sitting at about 1812 right now in gold. Silver contract volatility as well, 25.44, and there's your note and bond. 10-year note coming into the lows we had yesterday. You're talking about a yield right now just above 1.2% in the 10-year. Sounds low, but it was lower yesterday when we were spiking 135.14. You were approaching 1.1% yield in the 10-year. So much for the conversation of reaching 2% yield anytime soon. All right, and we'll take a look at the VIX. As this market proceeds higher, we were at 2044 as the market was pulling back on Tuesday. Currently, market comfortable, the VIX just under 18 this morning. Okay, let's jump over to the news of the morning and some of the fundamental data. We have initial jobless claims, continuing claims out this morning. The initial number, you're looking at 385,000, a decline of 14,000 from the previous week, pretty much in line. I mean, consensus, no matter how you shake it, was talking about a level of about 400,000 on a weekly basis, initial claims. Tomorrow's number, non-farm payrolls, a much bigger number, in my opinion, than getting an initial weekly jobless claim number. You have continuing claims. I guess they use the word plunge. Not sure I'd use the word plunge, but 366,000. That's a big drop off on the continuing claim number. We're under 3 million for the first time since March 14th of 2020. My goodness, right? And then you look at the total. The total of those receiving benefits under all programs. This is one that's most important because it's not really important whether you fall off the state coffers as much. I mean, in Florida, our state unemployment, very inadequate at times, depending on how long you can stay on that. You're off it in no time versus an unemployment system in the likes of Massachusetts, where you're getting a substantial portion of your pay that you had for a substantial period of time, etc. Nonetheless, you have a lot of people falling off the state rolls. They're able to stay on the continuing claims on all government programs. That number just below 13 million. So that number dropping 181,000. And again, that's the total of those receiving benefits under all programs. So this is encompassing the federal stimulus plans that were passed. All right. A year ago, so you're going back to August of 2020, that number was 32 million. 32 million. I'll say it again. Remarkable. But man, when you look at it, we got 13 million on those benefits numbers for all programs. We're only dropping by 181,000 right now. All of those, I shouldn't say all, many of those, we'll see how it shakes out, set to expire in September. So you're going to see a number that goes from above 10 million slashed dramatically. It's going to be a reckoning, folks, and we'll see where we shake out, but it's coming in September. And we're going to see all the headlines, right? It's going to be the biggest drop ever. We're breaking records, of course we are, because we've never went through anything like this. Now, non-farm payroll tomorrow, they get into it as well. That's a much bigger number, talking about jobs, right? We're talking about payrolls. You're talking about inflationary data in there, which will be a big number as well. Wage data, what's happening with wages? I imagine they're rising, folks. We got a lot of job openings, but for companies that can afford it, labor is a form of capital that you're going to go after and you're going to bid for it if it's worth it for your company, and that's what's happening to get people back in certain situations. We're looking for an estimate of 845,000. The thing to keep your eye on is that the ADP number was just 330,000. I think the expectation for ADP was something about 650,000. That was a pretty big miss on the private ADP number for 330,000 for the entire month. All right, we got almost 10 million jobs to make up, folks. If we don't start adding substantial numbers, and again, it's not going to be this month, it might not be next month, but you better believe August, September, October, as those federal stimulus plans expire and people are off the coffers, jobs are supposedly back open, and that's happening, you're seeing the market get a little shaky up here. Like we all know, but man, there's been some substantial moves for some of these stay-at-home stocks. You had Zoom trading up $25 yesterday from $375 to $400, right? You had DocuSign trading up substantially as well. Interesting that you see this type of action where some stocks benefiting as much, but you're not seeing the pain hit some of the stocks that might not benefit or that might be harmed as much if we do go into some of those types of lockdowns. I can tell you folks, you know that I'm in Florida. Pretty sure if you're informed enough to be watching this program about the market, that you're aware that the numbers in Florida are pretty substantial, to say the least. Kids are starting school coming up, and I can tell you, we have young kids in the house, and they're already shutting schools down, folks, because COVID cases are spreading at a time when school hasn't even started. All right, they're shutting them down for deep cleanings before school supposedly starts on Tuesday. School has not even started yet. I'm not sure how this shakes out when you play it into the market situation. Just from a fundamental aspect of spending money in the economy, I can tell you from being in a family with kids, with everybody vaccinated, including a teenager in high school that has the ability to be vaccinated, okay, I can still tell you that I encourage everybody out there to get vaccinated, okay, because when it comes to the economy, this is going to matter, and it's already mattering. I'm not going to Disney World, folks, with family, with young kids that can't get vaccinated, with cases jumping 50%, et cetera. You're seeing it. Disney's paying the price, man. Disney down to 172, right? This is one of the stocks that is paying the price. We got it in my newsletter. Quite a pullback. We're coming right down to this level that we're at in early May, mid-May, you could say. That low in Disney, 167.10. And I don't blame the market punishing them a little bit in the short term. And we will get over it. Disney will get back to normal at some point. I'm optimistic on that front. But, man, it's a tough reality right now with these cases. And I encourage everybody to be safe. Some people don't want to hear it. Nonetheless, it's life, folks. That's the only way this thing's going to happen. We're going to get over it. We're living it right now in Florida. Stay tuned, folks. When we come back, we're talking about Kevin Hicks. We got some earnings out in a big way. We're talking about Robinhood improvement today. We've got a lot of stocks back. Uber out with their numbers disappointing as well. We'll be right back, folks.
Golden ratios give shape to everything in our world, represented in the Fibonacci sequence. These special numbers define the patterns that make up our universe. Not even markets can escape the omnipotence of these ratios. Larry Pesavento is a 45-year market veteran who has published nearly a dozen books on the powerful patterns we find in nature and their relationships with the ever-elusive markets. Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, will teach you to harness the power of these natural golden ratios in order to create successful trades. Fibonacci 24/7 is designed to teach the tools you need to identify and act on these undeniable and reoccurring patterns. Sign up for Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, and you will also receive free access to his trading webinar, Trading Strong Trending Markets. Try out Larry's newsletter risk-free. All of TFNN's newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets in positive territory. We got about 12 minutes to go until the opening bell. S&P is positive by about 9 points right now. We got the initial jobless claims data out this morning. Non-farm payrolls tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Jumping around to some of the stocks that are moving this morning / this week. Robinhood, my goodness, almost too predictable, right? If you said, my goodness, of course the Reddit runners are going to run Robinhood because that's where they run everything on Robinhood. Nonetheless, that's what's happened. They run it up to $85 from a price of about $35. I mean, you're talking about really $37. That's more than a double bagger from Tuesday and Wednesday action. Trade up to $85, and just like that, though, even from yesterday's close, you're going to be down about 10%. You see the real acceleration, and that's coming on the heels that Robinhood retreats after monster rally as stockholders file to sell almost 100 million shares, folks. Now, what's remarkable here is that you're talking about more than $1 billion. I mean, because they're selling it at about $35, I think. Maximum selling price, $35.12 per share for the offering. Now, not sure when that was done, but I mean, this is insiders. That's basically private equity getting out of the stock now that they've IPO'd. You got New Enterprise Associates. They own 10% of Robinhood shares. They're listed among the sellers. Andreessen Horowitz. You got ICONQ Capital. You got a couple others in there, but venture capital firms, big holders in there, selling almost 100 million shares of Class A common stock. The offering is through an automatic conversion of certain convertible notes held by the selling stockholders in connection with the IPO, and Robinhood is going to receive no funds from that. So, just remarkable action like anything else. Not too surprising that it's really just being haywire over there. But be careful on that equity, folks, because it's going to start moving potentially like some of the other meme Reddit stocks as well. We got to take a look. Let's do it. I mean, speaking of being careful in terms of what you're stepping into, GameStop, talk about a slow melt. I mean, you get all the runs upward, right? But, geez, we're pushing basically almost 2 months of a slow melt to negative prices. You look where we're on the chart, you back it up. That's just, I mean, yeah, you got to, in any other world, this would be quite a rise where you go from 160 to 193, right? That's a 20% pop over 2 days. But that's a dead cat bounce, folks. This thing just on a one-way trip. You even back it up from June 9th. We're talking about 2 months. You're going to go from 300. You are now cut in half or more so to 147 from where you were trading. Got to take a look at AMC. AMC shares much the same, right? We got that crazy acceleration early in June. Since then, all of that acceleration waning, cut in half from where we were trading just June 29th, from 60 down to 29.84. Some of those main meme stocks losing some of their muster, but guess what? It's going somewhere else. It's going to Robinhood. At least it was over the last couple of days. We'll see how it reacts on the open for Robinhood shares. All right, how about Moderna, right? Just jumping around anyway. This stock, my goodness, we're going to open down $9, but this thing has had quite an acceleration. You go from 350 to 419. You take a look at a short term. They're out with their numbers, strong numbers. The news that's making headlines out there is the indication that the vaccine providing antibodies for at least 6 months, right? I mean, they only know as far as they can track at this point, at least 6 months. But man, this stock, heard Dave White talking about it, I believe, on his program yesterday, making some great points. I don't know how you buy an equity that's risen from $150 to $419 over the period of 2 months, let alone you back this up to a 3-year weekly, right? You come into 2020 at a price of about $20. All right. Now, yeah, the world's changed dramatically since then, but we came into the year 2021 at $103, folks. OK, now what's crazy is, who was it? Was it Merck, I think, that sold their position in it? I think they sold it somewhere around $70, $50. And I remember thinking, well, they must be somewhat of an informed investor. If they're getting out, they probably see a risk-reward ratio that's not quite worth it when you've already risen from $20 to maybe pushing $100 on this equity. Not quite the case. We're pushing $420. Doesn't mean you can't get a dramatic pullback, folks. I mean, you start running Fibonacci numbers on moves like this and natural retracements, no matter where you pick it. Maybe if we just go from where we were on July 8th, you're talking about a harsh pullback on this equity. We'll see. All right, folks, let's jump over to our man Kevin Hinks from Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade. And what we'll do every trading day, folks, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Fast Market by the TD Ameritrade Network. Kevin Hinks, Alex Coffey, and the team breaking down the option market, breaking down the market action. It's earnings season. We got a lot going on. We, of course, got a big payrolls number tomorrow. Kevin Hinks, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy O'Brien. Yeah, tomorrow, this is the quiet. It's calm to start the day, but there's a big number coming up tomorrow, and the ADP number that came out Wednesday throws a little bit of uncertainty into that number tomorrow. Think about this, Tommy. The expectations for tomorrow are 900,000 jobs. 735,000 of those are private payrolls. Well, Wednesday's ADP was a pretty big miss from that number, so it's going to get a little interesting when we look at this number, because I frankly think that some of these estimates for these payrolls are too high, and Wednesday's number showed that. So we'll see, though. Here's the good news: if you're bullish on the overall economy, the misses. The deviations between the ADP number and non-farm payrolls that come out on Friday are some of the biggest in history. So they seem to have a lot of misses lately, Tommy.
Yeah, those analysts, man, they're cashing their checks, but we got a lot of misses across the board, man, whether it's but how do you forecast in this time, right, Kevin? It's a completely different arena than they're used to give them a little bit of shade, at least, to hide behind, because it is. I mean, you're trying to forecast things we've never forecasted before in our lifetimes. But yeah, so we get the number tomorrow. ADP, like you mentioned. I was talking about the beginning of the show, Kevin. It's kind of, not the reckoning's coming, and it could be a great reckoning in terms of, but over the next, 2-3 months, I was talking about even the continuing claim number. When you look at people on all forms of government assistance, I think we got under 13 million. It only dropped by about 185,000. When you look at ADP number, right, you add the ADP, you look at the continuing claims dropping, a lot of those people are going to lose some of those benefits as we come into September. And then where do we go from there? Because like you said, I mean, they've come in pretty soft. Remember when we were, what was it, April or May, that you had 1 million jobs we were looking for? That seems like ages ago that we were pushing 1 million jobs, and we haven't even come close over the last 4 months, and the market's able to excuse it. But what do you think happens, Kevin, as we reach, August, September, let alone October payroll numbers, when those excuses kind of aren't there anymore if we're still missing?
Yeah, Tommy, the next 30 to 60 days, a lot of dust is going to settle on this economy as those 9 million open jobs meet a bunch of people whose enhanced benefits are going to melt away. What does that do for Uber and Lyft and their drivers? What is that going to do for overall jobs in general? And what is it going to do for wages when those jobs are met? So, the expectations for wages tomorrow are only up 0.03. So, it's like the jobs number looks a little high and the wages looks a little low. So, 60 days from now, Jerome Powell's going to have a much better feel for what this economy is doing. Right now, he doesn't know. How could he? How this is all going to settle out? But there's a big meeting of the minds coming in the next 30 to 60 days, Tommy.
And I think it's so cool, man, just from a trader's perspective in terms of the volatility that is at least potential when you have so much news that could be driving this, and it's got to happen, folks. I mean, just like you said, Chairman Powell, he's got the ability, man, right now to say, I need that data when those benefits expire. Well, geez, we're as close as you can be, folks, to those benefits expiring. Kevin, we got like 20 seconds. What are you guys talking about on the show today coming up?
Today will be all about Square, Tommy. That's what we'll be covering. That's the main highlight today.
Love it, man. Square, those payment companies on fire. Kevin, man, we appreciate the update. We look forward to the program at 11 o'clock today. Have a great weekend, man.
Thanks for having me on, Tommy.
Thanks, Kevin. Take care. We'll be right back, folks, for the Open.
Are you having fun trading the markets but having trouble finding like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&Ps up about 10 points right now with the markets open. Tech stocks, NASDAQ 100 up 22, hovering right at around 15,100. We get the Dow catching a bit up 83 points, and Russell up about 10 points as well. Jumping around to some of the stocks that are moving today. We mentioned Robinhood. Let's see how they're opening. They're down about 12% after they come out with an offering from insiders to the tune of about 100 million shares. And again, 100 million shares. So I think the price was $35.12 that they're doing that. I mean, for every $10, 100 million shares, you're talking about $1 billion. You're talking about $3.5 billion right there, shares selling. And those are some of the strongest positions. When you look at some of the private equity, just liquidating their position to get out, this was the game that they play as. And you put that money in, it goes IPO, they get the money out, and they do it again with a different company. They're not in the business of riding this thing higher. They're in the business of pushing this paper out to the public. And be interesting to see how it comes down to $35.12. Maybe they left some money on the table, but you're talking about 100 million shares. Not easy to unload at these current prices without crashing the market, I imagine. All right, let's jump around to some of the other stocks that are moving. Before we do, checking out Goldman. So interesting one here. Goldman, how about becoming, quote-unquote, the S&P 500's biggest bull? Some interesting targets here. So we're trading right now at about 4,400 in the S&Ps. They're talking about end of this year target 4,700. And they're talking about end of next year, I believe, 4,900. So end of 2021, you're talking about 300 points above where we're at now, about a 7% pop. And then from there, they're talking about a price level of about 4,900. Yes, there it is. End of 2022, 4,900 they'll be looking for their target. Strong numbers. Go looking for that. You know, tough to deny in this market in terms of a market that continues to want higher price. You take a look at the S&P, you back it up to where we are in November, you put it on a channel line. Every time we've touched the boundary line on that lower channel line, we've accelerated higher, and you're only about 50 points from that lower boundary line right now. If you make it to the top part of it, you're talking about 45.61. You extend things out over time, and that's going to bring you probably in the ballpark of that 4,700 range in the S&P. Whether we continue, we'll see. It's a lot up in the air as we talk about. We get a big number to start things off tomorrow. As I mentioned, just from a fundamental perspective, right? Time flies, folks. It's already August 5th. We're going to get non-farm payrolls for month of July coming up on Friday. It's already August 5th. Those benefits expiring in September. Seems like non-farm payrolls, time is just amazing. It just flies, folks. Point being, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, as Kevin says, important 60 days as we get some of that data as people fall off the benefits they've been receiving. Those benefits expire in September. And just be alert and be ready to trade, folks, because, you know, I imagine that we might get lulled in, at least for the next short period of time, because how do you trade decisively one way or the other when even Chairman Powell has said that he's waiting, basically? He might as well say, hey, we can't do anything for a month or two because everything is transitory until we get some type of reset to normalcy of people either losing benefits, right? Now, here's the tough part to add to this, folks. It's my life. I'm not exaggerating. And it's unfortunate that in my head I want to say I'm not being political because that's just ridiculous. But we get small kids in the house. They're supposed to start school on Tuesday. You're talking about grade school, okay? That grade school in Florida is shut down right now over the weekend for a deep cleaning for COVID cases spreading rampantly. And the school hasn't even begun yet, folks. There's supposed to be orientation on Friday. First day is supposed to be on Tuesday. They send out voicemails last night. Orientation is happening on Zoom. Part of the reason why Zoom is accelerating higher, I'm sure, yesterday, okay? That's not the only school district that's realizing, you know, you're down 1% today. You see the bar Zoom had yesterday, though, from 375. You're pushing the highs we had July 5th, okay? I bring it up because school is a necessary factor for many people as a form to be able to have their kids in school while they are working. The whole plan was that school starts back up, cases aren't that bad, parents are able to drop their kids off in school, kids are able to participate in school and be social that they need. And I'm telling you, there's already cracks in that plan, folks. I know Florida is a bit of an outlier right now, and hopefully it is, and hopefully those cases subside in quick fashion. But I can tell you that it's real-life impact going on right now in terms of schools already closing down in there. All right, let's take a look. What do we want to look at? Usman from Burlington, or let's see, BITF. What is this? It has the word bit in it. I'm guessing it might have to do with, no, Bit Farms? Let's see. I was going to say Bitcoin. BitF. Okay, it's not even coming up. Let's take a quick look and see if we can figure out what this stock is. Whenever I got nothing on the Thinkorswim platform, it's sometimes Bitfarms Limited. Not sure what they do. Try to pull it up. Is this going to be, what are we talking about here? Market cap wise. Market cap, $664 million company. All right, we jump over to the chart. It's trading at 457. Not sure what they do. Let's pull it up. Okay, so what did this thing just go public here? June 21st, it looks like. Pulling this up. Taking a look at the daily again. So there's your hourly. Yeah, so we go public, looks like, or somehow this thing becomes tradable July 8th. You're talking about $660 million company. You have no idea what they're doing. Sometimes some of the smaller companies don't have a complete analyze breakdown tab on the Thinkorswim platform. We're just talking about some of the Fibonacci retracement levels. I mean, this thing has just run, is that $1.80 for a $280 stock? Yeah, even a 382 brings this back down to about 412 there, Usman. A 618 would bring you back to 362. I mean, it's nice when some of these areas correlate to pivots on this chart, right? If you're trading this thing intraday, maybe you're trading with some tight stops, you could give a buy at about this 412 area. All right, that's correlating kind of nicely here from where we are, the high we had going back to July 28th. Or maybe if you're going to be a little bit more conservative, maybe you let it fill this gap we had going back to the July 23rd. That's going to be a 618 retracement. Also correlates to where we got a bounce on July 27th. That's going to bring it back to about 362. That's $1 from where we're trading at right now. But quite an acceleration on Bitfarms, trading higher. Anytime a company is valued at under $1 billion, though, you got to be careful. And the other thing to be careful here is putting it on a daily. We got some low volume numbers, all right? Yeah, they seem kind of substantial, but 3 million shares on a day. What do we got? 3 million, yeah, 2.9 million, 4.8 million, 1.8 million, 1.3 million shares traded July 29th. You really want to be careful because that's a pretty illiquid stock if you have anybody in there. Been around since longer than June. Just started trading on the NASDAQ in June. Okay, cool. Well, quite a start. You know, you come into it at 380. You're already up 80 cents from there. Interesting, the 50% retracement of this move is going to bring you right back to that tradable price on the NASDAQ on June 12th. But decent run. Tough to get into any equity when you trade from 280 to 463. Doesn't mean you might miss a run higher, but just from a risk-reward perspective, it's tough to be buying any type of thing running that quick. So, all right, jumping around to some of the other equities we got moving. Jumping down the line, we got a lot of companies with their earnings. So we talked about Moderna shares kicking things off. Robinhood we talked about as well. Wayfair. So how about this one, right? Jumping over to Wayfair. Let's see if they've held the gains. They sure have. They're up 5.7%. This thing has been volatile, to say the least, all right? You come into earnings, which is pretty cool. When you come into an earnings event where you got kind of your back to the wall, right? You're approaching the lower boundary. Now, this is on a weekly. Okay, but we're not talking about the lower boundaries we had, whether you started the year off, you made it to 369. But Wayfair, they come out with their numbers. Quarterly profit, $1.89. Market was only looking for $1.15. $3.9 billion in revenue, well above the pre-pandemic run rates. Not expected. They've had quite a run indeed. But Wayfair, they are higher this morning. How about Roku trading lower? So Roku has been a star in a big way. Look at this weekly. Roku, I got this thing on a weekly, had a Fibonacci number in here from previously. You make it up to a high of, this is going back to February, 486. You pull back to almost an exact 50% of the entire run we had from March. You come into that exact high last week almost, 490. And on a daily basis, there's your jump lower. We're trading about 390, down about 7%. We'll pull up some of their numbers. Roku, disappointing. We'll pull it up right after the break. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps up by 12 right now. NASDAQ 100 up by 18. The Dow catching a little bit of a bid to pull it up on the open there. See the Dow accelerated about 100 points from 34,750. We're up above 34,850 right now. Russell catching a bid as well, 2213. Excuse me, you could say the S&Ps as well, but kind of muted action. You're talking about only 4 or 5 points in the S&Ps. You're talking about no real action in the NASDAQ as both the Dow and the Russell catch a bid. Jumping over to Boeing. Keep my eye on Boeing. Catching a small bid up about 0.5% today, jumping around to some of the airlines, catching a bid after quite a slide they've had. American up about 1.3% right now. You got Delta up about 1% right now. United Airlines up 1% as well. We'll jump domestically. JetBlue shares up 1.1%. We'll jump to Southwest shares up about 1.1% as well. So the airlines, interesting to see how this one shakes out. Here's the article. Spirit cancels nearly half of the Thursday flights as travel chaos enters fifth day. There's a ton of flights getting canceled by these airlines at a time when they're struggling for staff, and commodities can be in there as well. But this is a staff, I imagine, as well. So the airline blamed the issues on a combination of bad weather, staffing shortages, and technology outages. It might be a combination, folks. But my impression is that shorting staffages is a much larger contributing factor to that combination than bad weather canceling that many flights. Now, we got a lot of rain going on in the southeast. I don't know about the weather in the other parts of the country. It's definitely possible, but you're talking about more than 370 flights, nearly half of the schedule canceled as they tries to finally end disruptions that vex customers all week, and you get backlogged for a week. You know what's going to happen, right? Those people have to go. The backlog just builds. It gets worse and worse. Nonetheless, it's been persisting across multiple airlines going on this week as well. It's not just Spirit, maybe not to that degree, but shortages playing a factor in a big way as they try and restart the airlines. Not quite where we've been yet. And, you take a look on a longer-term basis, right? I don't think a lot of people thought you'd be back to maybe some of these quick levels in terms of you're pulling back 30% on American Airlines, right? You're pulling back from the highs we had from 52. You're talking about back to 38. You are back to where we were trading at, folks. Yeah, November 9th, okay? That's talking about election, and that's talking about vaccines. Just a remarkable pullback. When you think about where these airlines were trading prior to November 1st, okay, you think about the fundamental makeup of the economy and the outlook possible. Okay, we did not know the efficacy of these vaccines at all. We now know them, and of course we know a lot more in terms of the variants that are possible, how those variants can impact the ability for that vaccine to replicate, maybe even among people who are vaccinated. Nonetheless, you're talking about Delta in a world late in October where we had no idea whether these vaccines would be able to even work, was trading at 32, and we're still trading at 38. They get some big problems, is what this chart is saying, folks. There's nothing to say this can't pull back to $33 if you've made it from 52 to 38, just like that. Now, you talk about the cruise ships, right? Yeah, my goodness, pretty similar action. We're trading at 21.62. You just lost, what was that? Yeah, about 30% on this equity over the period of the last 2 months, and you are, again, back to almost where we were trading at November 9th. November 9th, you almost hit $20. And we were at that level when you back it up to where we were just about a couple weeks ago in Carnival. Norwegian, NCLH, pretty similar action. I mean, this thing has bounced. Maybe this is the area. You look where we are from the run that begins in November, right? You bounced once right at around the 618 retracement. That's also where we bounced in February. Now, I say where we bounced. That wasn't the 618, okay? Because this is a 618 off the full run we got in Norwegian from November up to the highs we had in early March. We've pulled back to the 618 retracement. Always nice, though, when you get an area that has been support on a prior occasion on the chart. So coming back to that area, maybe $220, maybe $22 is where Norwegian finds a little bit of a bid. Doesn't mean it's going dramatically higher anytime soon, though, folks. You could just consolidate for a while at these levels because we are still a far cry from anything resembling prior to COVID for the charts of these stocks in the cruise ships in a big way. Okay, jumping around to what else we got going on. Some of the stocks are out today. We talked about Uber as well. 58 cents a share for a profit. The market was looking for 51 cents. Well, here's the key on Uber. I'm a big bull on Uber, but not what you like to see in terms of the pullback it's had. And their quarterly profit was largely coming from investments. Okay, so they are down, and let's see how they're trading on the open today. This is a weekly. Let's pull it up. Oh, look at this. There you go. Interesting action on Uber, catching a bid. You dive down to almost $38, you're back to 42. Now, I've been talking about Uber. $45 would have been in the area that you wanted to hold here. That was an area that we had support back in May. Gotten pretty quickly below that level. Not sure how today plays out. That is a bounce here. All right, this is the area that we have basically above the gap from November. Now, it's really remarkable. Same thing when you do this kind of breakdown in Uber, is that Uber, in a world, prior to COVID, you're trading at about $33. You accelerate out of the gate in November when you get vaccine efficacy numbers, and it looks like travel's going to open back up. You basically almost double the share price up to $64. Not sure it's fair value to be back to about $40, but it is if that's what the market's telling you, folks. All right, so this thing is back to almost $40. We're catching a bid today. I mean, that's a nice action to see in terms of an acceleration right out of the gate after trading lower yesterday, but Uber barely positive by about 0.7%. Let's take a look at Disney. Another one that's been trading lower, but they're catching a bid as well, up about 0.8%. Now, Disney, that's a nice critical area there, 170. You're looking to get in Disney, 170, not a bad area to get in, right? That's where we've been bouncing since about May. 170, the upper boundary line, made it as high as about 180, 185. You put that same Fibonacci number from where we were in November, man, same thing, Disney. Not quite doubling, but quite a run from about 118 to 203, and that's correlating to the 382 area, that 170 price level on Disney. You back it up on a 3-year weekly to take a look. You were trading Disney prior to COVID about 152. You came into 2020 at a price level of give or take about 140 before things fell out of bed to a low of 79. We're trading at 174, and there's your Fibonacci retracement zone on Disney shares. All right, what else we got? How about the gaming, Electronic Arts? They beat by 12 cents, 79 cents a share. Revenue top forecast as well, and an upbeat forecast. Kind of call that the trifecta, right? Revenue, profit, and forecast all beating, and they're up about 0.6%, putting it back on a daily. Oh, look at this, though. Whew. Not what you want to see on the open when supply equals demand and the market figures out that it was way above where it should have been prior to that. They're out with their numbers last night. Kind of spotty numbers here, not very actively traded after hours. You spiked to 147.32, and this is why, folks. If you're ever trading options, and options don't trade after hours, so many times you're making earnings trades, you got to wait till the open. So often, if you trade them enough, and that's where it just really pays to, even if you're not a trader in them, you want to get into them, start making at least demo trades. Maybe you make real cash trades with very small amounts, folks. Sometimes options, you can make trades for, $25 if it's trading at a quarter, $75, $100 for a trade, just to wet your feet to where you feel comfortable, because these moves happen more often than you think, okay? Because when the market opens and true supply equals demand, Like, for instance, at 9:30, EA had 210,000 shares traded, followed by 120,000, followed by 100,000. Okay, so you're talking about 415,000 shares traded in the first 15 minutes of trading, let alone almost 500,000 shares when you look at it in the first 15 minutes. That's where you figure out, really, when people have to put up money for their decisions, folks, and their feelings and their probabilities and their market assumptions, their market biases, all that matters is who's buying and who's selling. And so often, some of the moves overnight in options, okay, don't take them for granted on the open, because these moves happen all the time. You got to have some quick fingers sometimes. For a bull last night, you had a trade, well, you got most of those. Stay tuned, folks. Right back to finish up the show.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave! Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. I got a chart of Etsy out here. Etsy out with their numbers last night as well. They missed on user numbers here. Set the stock down to about 172 overnight, but man, catching a bid as well. Still down about 7.3% in terms of where we were last night, but you're almost getting a 10% pop from where we were at the lows on their numbers last night. They got a couple downgrades, I believe, as well on some of those numbers. You got Wedbush lowering their price target to 195 from 204. Nothing too dramatic right there, but a little bit of a miss on Etsy. Surprising seeing some of these numbers as they rock and roll on the open. A little bit of a divergence from the overnight action. Roku catching a small bid, still down about 6.6% on their numbers after the bell last night as well. Taking a look at Uber, seeing how they're trading. Uber catching a bid, up now 2.3%, up to $43. Interesting action over there on Uber on their numbers. You spiked at $37.90. You're up to $42.76. A little bit of a run. Uber's an interesting one, folks, because, you know, you need travel and so forth to open back up for that part of their business, the ride sharing. Everybody needs to get back out and be social, or whether they're using ride sharing, ride hailing, ride sharing in any capacity. But so that's going to pay the price if there's more restrictions and so forth. But then they have their food delivery business, which is going to benefit if there are more lockdowns and so forth. So a little bit of a dichotomy there. I mean, look at Zoom. Zoom spikes 403.80 this morning. We're basically flat, trading at 399.50. DocuSign was up dramatically yesterday. Look at DocuSign extending the gains as well, up another 1.7% today. Take a look at those airlines. All the airlines catching a bit at the same time, though. Maybe that's a Max Payne situation that we've pulled back. American up 2.7%, Delta up 1.8%, United up more than 2%. And let's see if the cruise lines are benefiting as well. And they are catching a small bid. Be careful. You know, if you're going to get into these, maybe you're a long-term holder and you're willing to ride out some short-term volatility, because there's no way to say the Max Payne is ending on these so far, to say the least. And let's take a look at Robinhood. Down about 14%. There's your volatility on Robinhood, trading about 60.50. See where that thing shakes out, as you got a ton of insiders getting out, it looks like, of Robinhood. Can't blame them. Been tied up for a while, right? Into that equity long before it goes public at the valuation it's in. And take your cash, move on to the next run. All right, folks, stay tuned. We got our man Basil Chapman coming up live next. Of course, Fast Market, Larry Pesavento, Steve Rhodes, Dave White, Tom O'Brien, all this afternoon. It'll be an interesting day in the market. Non-farm payrolls tomorrow. We'll be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Stay tuned. Basil Chapman is coming up live right now.
Building wealth trading in